Hi everyone, this is Nurzibde, integrative and functional dietitian nutritionist and a gut health specialist. And you are joining me today in episode number 30. I'm so excited we got to episode number 30. The show is something that I have started doing in January of 2018, so it's been a year right now. Um, we obviously missed a few weeks because we are not at 50 plus episodes at this point. But I hope it's been giving you some insight to things that could be happening in your gut and how you could heal and repair things and get rid of digestive symptoms and understand the connection between your gut and autoimmunity and things like migraines and headaches and food sensitivities and skin issues and lots of things like that I've been doing. So if you are just joining me, if this is your first time, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today. And if you have been a follower since the beginning, thank you so much for being there and for all the support and for your questions and your comments and your shares. I really appreciate it. And as always, if you have any questions or things that you want me to talk about or address, just let me know, and I always try to do my best to bring those up in future episodes. So today's episode, I know, is going to be a little bit on a controversial topic. Are food sensitivity tests accurate, and are they worth it? I have a bunch of notes here that I wanted to share, so if I'm looking down the screen, just forgive me for that. But I do want to make sure that I talk about all the things that are related to food sensitivity tests, and this is definitely my opinion based on there's definitely research, but also experience and helping hundreds of people over the past 6 years with health conditions related and symptoms related to food sensitivities. So if you have a different opinion, that's perfectly fine. I am open and have open-minded to comments and questions. Just be nice. That's just all I ask. But if you have any questions or things you want me to address, make sure you write them in the comments. And so I get to them whether it's live or after the streaming is over. All right, so if you just joined in, give me a thumbs up or say hi, tell me where you're from, and making sure that looks like voice is working fine, so we can get started. Food sensitivity testing, are they accurate and are they worth it? Um, First of all, I've talked about food sensitivity tests and food sensitivities in general many times before. Just to recap, if this is the first time joining, if you've never heard of this, food sensitivity symptoms can span throughout the whole body. So you may experience digestive symptoms. That's sometimes this the case for many and most people, but it's not always digestive symptoms. So it can be things like constipation, well, diarrhea, bloating, stomach pain, spasms, or alternating between constipation and diarrhea. Sometimes constipation as well too, heartburn, reflux. But it doesn't have to be just digestive issues. It can be all over your body, so head to toe, things like headaches, brain fog, migraines, even difficulty focusing, trouble sleeping, anxiety, depression. It can be things in your skin like eczema or rashes, hives, and psoriasis. It can be joint and muscle pain, low energy, fatigue, and it can also be related to autoimmune conditions, congestion, postnasal drip, and asthma. And so maybe even unexplained weight loss or difficulty losing weight. So the symptoms of food sensitivities can be any part of your body, it doesn't have to be the gut. And I typically find that people with sensitivities are people who've had testing done or they get their labs done, and there's really nothing that they can hold or nothing that can pinpoint the source of their symptom or their problem, and they're kind of desperate for help and figuring out what's going on. So first of all, are food sensitivities accurate? Well, I have to, before I even start, I have to make sure that you know that food sensitivities are different from food allergies. I talked about the difference between allergies and sensitivities on episode 20, so I'll put the link in the comments below, but they're completely different immune reactions. So if you went to an allergist or you went to your primary care and they did an IgE, E like an elephant, and that was negative, or if they have done skin tests or skin patch tests or prick tests and they were negative, does not mean that you don't have a sensitivity. These are completely different. And even if they were positive, if you were positive, let's just say to peanuts, it does not mean that you don't have any other sensitivities, because the symptoms are different. Allergies are acute, sensitivities are subtle, take a long time. They're not deathly, like they're not fatal, but they kind of put a dent on your quality of your life and the ability to do things that you love and enjoy your day-to-day activities. Obviously, nobody has fun when you have headaches or migraines or itchy skin and eczema all the time. So, number one is food sensitivity tests are different than allergy. So if one was negative, if the allergy was negative, it doesn't mean you don't have it. And it doesn't mean, and here's the thing, even food allergy tests, the blood tests, they are not 100% accurate. So a lot of times I've seen some statistics as 19% accurate. So you may test positive for something and you take it out, and then in one of the studies I read, doctors in an allergist's office reintroduced the food, and the patient was able to tolerate it even though the allergy was positive to it. I wouldn't recommend that you do that on your own, but in any test there's some sort of error in there. So number one, sensitivity tests are different than allergy tests. Now, number two, and a lot of times people ask me, well, can I get my doctor to order a food allergy or food sensitivity test? Or why do I have to get the test from you? And that's because not all tests are the same. They're not all equal. Now, you might have a different opinion and a different practitioner may have a different opinion, perfectly fine. But from my experience helping hundreds of people, I'm getting a lot of success and a lot of results with my patients. I get their scores, they score their symptoms all over their body. And I have so many patients starting with scores as high as 70 and 80 and even more than 100. And in then 30 to 50, in 10 days, we see at least 50 to 80% reduction in their symptoms. And by 30 days, by 1 month, it's even lower. So we've had great success with that there's no way that this is not working or it's all placebo effect. So you may have had a test called IgG testing. A lot of doctors, they may not believe in food sensitivities, but if they do, or whether they're conventional or integrative medicine, the common test that is used is called IgG testing. And you would see that if you have a test, open it, and if you want my help figuring out if yours is an IgG or not, just let me know. The problem with IgG is what happens is that they are taking your blood and they want to see if your body is producing antibodies type G, IgGs, when they are exposed to the food. Now, there is problems with that because number one, a lot of studies are finding that the elevated IgGs are not necessarily because of just exposure to the food. The more your body sees this food, it will release IgGs to it, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad food. It doesn't mean that this food is creating inflammation or an inflammatory response in your body. That's number one. So it maybe just mean that you're exposed to this food often and frequently. Now, the other problem with IgGs, let's just say that your body is fighting something. IgG tests capture one type of immune reactions. So food sensitivities are delayed. They take up to 72 hours and they involve two pathways of the immune system. So I'm going to get a little technical on you, but this is really important. Okay, so IgGs are considered antibody mediated reactions. So the immune cells are going to produce antibodies, and the antibodies are going to fight the pathogen, the toxin, the foreign invader, in this case, food. Now, there is a different type of immune reactions. They're called cell-mediated. So the cells produce chemicals and compounds to fight the foreign invader without producing IgGs. So in one, sometimes they call the IgG reaction hypersensitivity 3, and in the other ones, the cell-mediated hypersensitivity 4. So if the test that you have is just an IgG test, then we're capturing one type of immune reaction. We're not capturing the other type of immune reactions that are involved in food sensitivities. So you're only seeing half of the picture, if not any, because it is believed that cell-mediated delayed reactions are more involved in food sensitivities as opposed to IgG reactions. Did I get you confused about that? If you want me to clarify more, let me know, and I'm happy to do that. So And that's why a lot of people sometimes they come to me and they say when we're starting out, like I had this IgG test done, and because they've done the test, and there were times when we tried to follow the plan, but eliminating the foods that were positive on an IgG didn't get them results, and eating the foods that were negative on that test, it just really didn't resolve their symptom. And at the end of the day, my goal when I'm helping someone is to get them to be without their diarrhea, to get rid of their headaches, to have more energy, to not have the pain. So if the test is not going to get you the results that you desire, then it's not going to work. And many times I even just don't even bother with it because we want to do it the right way. We want to, if you're going to put time and effort into the meal plans and into cooking your meals, you want to be on the right test. So are you still with me there? So that's now the IgG. Now, the test that I use is a mediator release test. It's called the MRT. And what the mediator release is that we're capturing the endpoint chemicals. The immune system is going to release multiple types of chemicals called mediators to fight a food. And it doesn't really matter which one it is because there are even ones that are not identified. But we want to be able to measure all of them. So we measure when the cells are exposed to problem food, when the immune cells are incubated with the food and they are exposed to that problem food, they're going to shrink, they're going to release their content to fight the food, and we're trying to capture that change in the solid to liquid ratio. That's what the machine is trying to capture. Now, the test that I use is called the MRT. There is another test on the market called ALCAT, and it's common and other practitioners use it. From experience, I felt like the MRT was getting me better results with my patients. Plus, the information was laid out much easier to see, and it was more clear on how to follow the plan. And it's just a newer technology. The doctor who came up with the LCAT came up with the MRT later, so it's a more advanced technology, and that's why I go with that test. So if you've wondered, like, why can't you use the test that I have, or can I just get a test done from my doctor? It's always ultimately up to you, but from my experience, the patients that I've helped were using the MRT test, and that's what got me the best results. Now, you may wonder, and some people say, well, just do an elimination plan, keep track of your food diary, and you'll be able to figure it out. Unfortunately, that is very, very, very difficult to do. And if you've tried to keep a food diary, if you're in here listening and you try to keep a food diary to figure out what your food sensitivities are on your own, or even with the help of an allergist or a professional, I bet you that it's a very difficult task to do because food sensitivities are delayed. You can eat something today and the body will not show a reaction until 72 hours from now. Not 72 days, that's crazy. So for you to do a food diary, you really, really have to be able to analyze it. It's funny, I have a patient who we were working together, and he's like, can I develop an algorithm for you to do that? And I'm like, give it a try. I don't know if you can, but it's really a tedious task to do. So when we do the test, we have, I call it a guided elimination. Instead of guessing and randomly choosing 4 or 5 or 10 foods for my patients to eat, and it's totally going to be a haphazard. Like I'm just gonna pick and hope that I'm right. Well, I don't want to hope. I want to know. I want to be more confident because when someone is putting the time, effort, and money into their food, I want to get them on the right track faster. And that's why we're doing the elimination. Now, that leads to the next test. The question or problem or the challenge when people doing food sensitivity testing, are they accurate? Are they worth it? Yes, it helps us guide the plan and the food introduction, but I'm not treating the test. You are a human being. I don't just treat the numbers or I look at the test and say like, eat this, this, and that. Quite honestly, I modify the plan. Like the test comes with specific foods to introduce, but that is not what always my patients get on because you are a human being. You have a medical history. You have been exposed to certain things in your lifetime, whether it's medications or environmental issues. You have specific symptoms that you're complaining about. You have a different lifestyle maybe that you need to modify to make this plan work and successful. So some people say, oh, why don't I just order the test? Well, it's not just the test that will suddenly be the magic and now you're feeling great. Yes, the test helps guide us, but you still need to follow it properly. Following it properly, interpreting it properly, looking at the chemicals, because there are certain chemicals in food that are going to make certain things bad for you. So if you reacted to something like salicylic acid, you shouldn't be eating tomatoes, zucchini, and strawberries, at least until you fix what's going on in your gut. So that's why, like, sometimes people ask, can I just order the test? Can you order me the test? Can I do it alone? Unfortunately, for me as a responsible provider and someone who believes in integrative and functional medicine paradigm approach, we have to look at the person as a human being. We have to look at all the symptoms and all the systems, and I have to talk to you and understand what is going to be possible for you. Because if that test of that paper tells you that you need to eat chard and crab and just random throwing scallop and cumin, and these are things that you've never ever used and you don't know how to use them, you're not going to be successful. So we need to make sure that it fits your lifestyle and your preferences as well too. And I'm not treating a lab or a number. I'm working with a patient, a human being. Now, here's another argument, or why people say, well, food sensitivity tests are not worth it and they're not needed, is because they say that food sensitivities happen because you have leaky gut, because you have dysbiosis or a pathogen or whatever is in your gut. So you're not really getting to the bottom or the root of the condition. Just fix the gut, just fix leaky gut, and then you won't have food sensitivities again. Okay, so let's just fix the gut. Now, I do agree with this 100%. When I first started many years ago, I just started with food sensitivity testing, was so excited getting my patients' results, but there were people who weren't getting results, and other people were, like, after getting improvements, things will come back. And that's because at that point, I didn't know, it was still early in my career and in my functional medicine education, is that what else is going on in the body. So yes, that is true. We do need to get to the bottom of it. We need to get to the root cause. What kind of dysbiosis do you have? Do you have any pathogens in your gut? Do you have too much of the bad bacteria, not enough of the good bacteria? Do you have yeast, parasite, virus, SIBO, H. pylori, all of those things, which we can do through proper testing. So that's definitely true. But if we don't do the food sensitivity test, then your body is continuously fighting something. Your immune system is continuously fighting something. And in that process, you're creating more inflammatory response. You're draining your nutrients, your resources. The immune system is hyperactive. And so your healing is going to be much harder. It will take more time than if you knew exactly what you're eating. I sort of describe that to people as, think of it as a foundation and think of it as a pyramid. And then the bottom is food. That's the foundation. Now, if you're eating a food that is going to create sensitivities and creating immune response, which is an inflammatory response, which is a chronic stress response, no matter what you do at the top, no matter what antimicrobial you take or probiotic, you can spend lots and lots of money on these products. But if you're eating something on a regular basis that's making your body, that's making it harder for your body to heal, it's going to be taking much longer, and you may not even get the results that you want. So I do want to get my patients to feel better. I do want them to, the brain fog to be lifted. I want you to not have your diarrhea, your muscle pain, joint pain. So you get motivated and you get excited and you get in the kitchen more and make your meals more and start moving more. And so we can improve your sleep. And then we're going to add on that, figuring out what are the dysbiosis and the leaky gut and all the stuff that are happening. Like one of my mentors says, it's a windshield wiper effect. You're driving in the middle of a rain storm and you cannot see. But when you clear the rain, you clear any dirt or anything that's blocking your vision, now you can see clearly. There isn't one person that I did a food sensitivity test on that has not benefited at all. Like zero benefit, I've not seen that. And there were few cases when that happened. And in that case, it's not that they didn't work. It was actually that the patient had something more advanced, more chronic, deeper than food sensitivities. And if we didn't do the food sensitivity, they weren't able to they weren't motivated or they weren't able to get the proper diagnosis for that condition. So it's just one way to eliminate the chronic subtle inflammation, so we can allow us to dig deeper and have you feeling great and motivated and inspired to actually to pay more attention to your health. Because when you're not getting results, when you're trying random elimination diets and they're not working, you're just very discouraged. You may as well eat all the sugar and all the gluten and all the processed foods that you want, just because it's not working. Nothing is working, and I never want anybody to be in that position. Now, some people say that food sensitivity plans and restrictions, they are restrictive. You take out healthy foods, they're not healthy, they're not you're not being mindful, you're calling foods bad and all sorts of things. Now, here's the problem is they don't have to be, and here's my challenge or my response to that is that they don't have to be restrictive. I just want to know, is it better for my patient to eat cabbage or broccoli, or maybe neither one of those and they should eat kale and green beans? We are, the goal of food sensitivity testing is to eliminate the problem foods short term, not long term, heal the gut, balance the gut, and then bring those foods again. So it doesn't have to be restrictive. We are going to be able to introduce many foods and we can make it very balanced. So that is not true. The other thing is, if you have chronic inflammation in your gut and your body is not absorbing things and properly and not digesting properly, what is the use of all the nutrients that you're eating in the food? You're spending money on grass-fed beef and organic chicken and organic vegetables and produce, but if you have a problem with digestion and absorption, it's just all going to go. You're not absorbing any of that. And a lot of times I've had patients gain weight, patients who are malnourished, undernourished. I've worked with few children who were failure to thrive, who were able to put on healthy weight because we eliminated the chronic stress, and now they're able to absorb the nutrients in their foods. So, and you know what? If a food doesn't make you feel good, there's nothing wrong with taking it out so that you feel great and amazing. I'm not shaming certain foods, or I'm not labeling certain foods are good and bad. Now, if you have a history of an eating disorder or emotional struggles when it comes to food or any disordered eating, maybe food sensitivity testing. Actually, I actually don't recommend food sensitivity test in this case. But if you have a general, good healthy relationship with food and you're in pain and you just want to know what to eat, I don't see that being a problem at all. In fact, it will add so much to your life. What else? Any questions that we have? So another, challenge that, or some of the complaints or the people, the pushback on food sensitivity is how accurate they are. Now, as I said, there are different tests. The test that I use has a 94.5% sensitivity and 91.8 specificity. So I can go more into the details about what that means. So it is getting me good results. It is helping the patient. And also because how you apply the test, there may be some false negatives or false positives, but the way we do the protocol we follow with the plan, we're able to identify anything that could be false positive or false negative because there's a process to that. So we're eliminating any error that could possibly be there. Now, another I would say like a con, like people say, well, food sensitivity tests are expensive, and I've read that on forums and blogs, and I've had also definitely some practitioners believe that. And here's what I my sort of philosophy when it comes to that. It may cost anything between $200 to $1,500 to do any food sensitivity test. Different tests, I'm not going to go into the breakdown, but and some people say that they are a waste of money because they are so expensive. Now, as I said, based on my experience helping hundreds of people, I've never had a case where the test was completely useless. There were times, and they were very small percentages of people who had a more complicated issue that food sensitivity testing was able to uncover and help with 50 to 70% of the symptoms, but there still were issues. But I'd say the majority are doing really great on that plan. But so it's a small percentage of people who it enabled us to see that there's something else in there. Now, and they are a waste of money if you are the wrong fit for it. I had a question earlier today from someone is, what if I can only eat 4 to 5 foods? And I've had definitely patients who could truly count 5 foods that they were able to eat. And in this case, I'm not going to run a food sensitivity test because yes, it would be a waste of your money right now because I know what you can tolerate. I'm going to go right through the gut and I'm going to try to fix it. And those people, more assessment of their gut is going to be the better use of time and money. But a lot of times when my patients are coming to me, they don't know what's triggering their problem. They cannot figure that out. And if you cannot figure that out, then that's when we want to do the test so that you can, get rid of the symptoms that are bothering you, that are troubling you, that are, putting a dent on your lifestyle. So if you are one of those people, I ask you this, what do you have to lose? I know food sensitivity tests, there are some studies, but it's not widespread of studies of clinical randomized trials with 2 arms and a placebo and a test subjects and all that thing. And I'll tell you why. Because there's no funding. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, like myself and my colleagues who are doing this kind of work, we're too busy changing lives. We're too busy helping people. And it's not like a pharmaceutical drug where there is some financial support. So we do track I do track the progress with my patients. It's just there is not a system where I can report that and put it part of a clinical trial. And then it's also difficult to create a placebo because each person is different. And we are our own like what is it, comparison. How did you do before and how did you do after? So the funding is not necessarily there for the test, and so we may not find clinical trial with large numbers of people. But I challenge you, for someone who has done the test, correct test, and followed the plan properly, someone who was a good fit for the test, to say that it did not significantly improve the quality of their life, transform their life. They're not able to, now they're able to go and travel and not look for a bathroom everywhere they go. They don't have to be in bed for hours every day because of a migraine and all the other symptoms. So, what do you really have to lose if you've done all your testing and your doctor's checked for everything and you keep getting told that you're fine, that you're normal, that there's nothing wrong with you, or you've been getting discharged from your physicians or other practitioners, or you have been given supplements that are not working? What else is left there? So when people say it is expensive to do food sensitivity tests, I'll tell you what's expensive. An iPhone is expensive. A new laptop is expensive. A designer purse is expensive. There are a lot of things that are expensive, but we buy them because we choose that experience. We choose the experience of carrying a brand purse, or using the apps that we want on our phone, or whatever that you desire. So same thing with food sensitivity tests. I wish they were more available. I wish they were covered by insurance more. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But people who get them and who benefit from them, they want that experience of optimizing their health, optimizing their life, and living to the fullest. So not being held back from the diarrhea or the stomach pain or the headaches or the brain fog or anything that they're dealing with. So until insurance covers that, I wish they would. This is what we have, and the investment that you make on this test or any test that will significantly affect your life and help you heal, the return on your investment, such as the return on the investment on a lot of things that you spend money on, but that is return on your investment in health. It adds so much to the quality of your life, and then it can prevent you from getting more tests and more procedures and more medications that don't work and may even have other side effects. And I find that a lot of people I worked with have spent thousands of dollars on procedures and tests. And I know that if you, the more all these expensive, and there are a lot of tests available online, but when you're trying to figure it out on your own, you end up actually spending more because you're experimenting. You don't really know what really works and what doesn't. So I feel like they are an investment in health. I think the return on an investment is 100% worth it. You have to be the right person for it, and that's why I don't recommend that anybody orders any test online. And that's why working with a provider, someone who knows what they're doing and the test that they're ordering and how to interpret it and how to look at it within context of who you are as a person, of your medical history and medical background, is going to be super duper important. So that was my my take on food sensitivity tests and why I order the one I order, and why I don't order the test by itself. What I would love from you, if you're watching this, if you have a comment or question, definitely leave it for me. I'll come back and answer it. If you have an opposite opinion, I also welcome you to put a comment if you had a different experience. And if you are someone who is dealing with food sensitivities, if you wonder if food sensitivities are happening, which test to order, what foods should you eat, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to spend, you'll end up spending more time and more money when you try to do things on your own. And know that for sure. So if you have headaches and migraines, skin issues, trouble sleeping, mood swings, brain fog, postnasal drip, skin issues, eczema, psoriasis, itchiness, and of course any digestive symptoms and autoimmune issues as well, but any of the digestive symptoms like heartburn, reflux, bloating, stomach pain, it sounds like too good to be true, that if we just figure out food sensitivities, we'll get rid of these symptoms. But these are just things that my patients are every day fixing and healing and improving. So I would love for you to come and sign up and just get on a phone call. I can help you figure out if this is the right thing for you or not. And I'll put the link for you to book a free call with me to see if it's what you need. And if it's not, then that's fine, but at least you have some answers and can get some direction for what you can do next. So I hope this was helpful. Of course, come join me next week, but if you want a little bit more or a lot more personalized help and advice on your health and guidance, make sure that you book a call, and will be very, very thrilled and excited to be speaking with you. That's it for today, and I hope I'll see you next time.